Hello, my friends. Namaste. Hare Krishna. It is time for my predictions for the coming Vedic Lunar New Year, the Chaitra Shukla Paksha, as it's called in Sanskrit, which coincidentally begins tomorrow, March 29th, 2025, until it will extend until March 18th or 19th, depending on your time zone, in 2026, 1 year. As with last year, very much coincidentally, there will be a partial solar eclipse on the day of the beginning of the Vedic Lunar New Year. This is pretty rare, believe me, very rare, and it happens 2 years in a row. So the eclipse will take place Saturday, March 29th. The maximum eclipse will be at 10:47 UTC time. That's the same as Greenwich Mean Time. UTC means Universal Time. The duration will be approximately 4 hours, and it depends, when it begins in your particular area. An eclipse is generally an inauspicious event and brings negative results since the luminary, in this case the sun, is being eclipsed by the shadow planet Rahu, the north node of the moon. It is recommended in the Vedas that if the eclipse is visible in your area, you can counteract the possible negative effects through increased prayer, meditation, yoga practice, particularly the chanting of mantra. The best mantra would be the Maha Mantra, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. This is especially true for you if your sun sign, moon sign, or rising sign is identical with the sign in which the eclipse is taking place, which is what in this case? Pisces, my friends. Eclipse effects are not usually apparent on the day of the eclipse. In this case, the total solar eclipse will last for 4 hours, so its effects may be felt for the next 4 years into the future. But they will be felt through this year, believe me. A solar eclipse predominantly affects the ruler of the country in which it appears. Also, the government ministers and officials and prominent politicians, as well as the judiciary. Now, last year we had an eclipse on the same day, beginning of the Lunar New Year, and I predicted, based on that and other influences, that 4 governments would fall. 4 governments and the parties in power would fall. All of them fell. The US government fell, the British government fell, the Irish government fell, and the Canadian government fell with the stepping down of Trudeau. He resigned. This eclipse tomorrow will be visible in the northeast US, northeast Canada, Ireland, the UK, and Western Europe. Eclipse in Pisces will affect the shores of the oceans and articles from the sea, such as pearls, those whose profession is connected with water, such as sailors and fishermen, as well as forestry people and scholars. What to do during an eclipse? In Vedic times, many thousands of years ago, it was the custom to enter a river, particularly a sacred river such as the Ganga, the Ganges, or the ocean or other body of water, and chant mantras and offer prayers for purification during the eclipse. Solar and lunar eclipses are generally very inauspicious, with certain rare exceptions. It is nonetheless an advantageous opportunity for fasting, prayer, and the worship of God. Fasting should be observed for the whole period of the eclipse in order to nullify the reactions of past negative deeds, negative karma, or egocentric activities, my friends. Hopefully you don't do any of those to begin with, right? It is also recommended to give in charity to the poor as much as possible during the time of a lunar or solar eclipse. If you cannot afford to give in charity, then simply give charity within your mind. That is, envision yourself doing it just the way you would on the physical plane. The spiritual benefit for you will be the same. Did you know that? Most people don't know that, but it works. Pregnant women should never look or observe an eclipse, since it is thought to have potentially a negative effect on the health of the fetus. So, not for pregnant women. Okay, so Chaitra Shukla Paksha predictions for the lunar year, March 29, 2025. Total solar eclipse on the first day of the Vedic Lunar New Year affects the ruler, the government, government officials, and the judiciary. This, of the 60-year cycle of Jupiter, this particular year is called Vishvavasu, and it says the effects will be moderate to beneficial. Yeah, when I read the rest of it, you may not think that's going to be the case. The Lord of the year will be Saturn. Saturn represents the people. People rise up against governments and institutions who are not representing the will of the people. Currently, many governments are careening toward their own self-destruction. They cater to the demands of activist vocal minorities while ignoring and denigrating the mainstream majority. Such government provocateurs fund and incite conflicts and wars that have nothing whatsoever to do with the will of the people, and indulge in reckless and precipitous spending of the people's tax money while ignoring the demands and needs of their own citizens. Well, we're finding that out since Trump went into office in the U.S. The precipitous waste and spending of the people's tax money. Subsequently, the people will rise up when Saturn is the Lord of the year. Maybe that's what they did when they went to the polls and voted. But that may continue. Well, it is continuing, in fact. But it's being perpetrated now mostly by the Democrats. Planetary conjunctions affecting the world. I'm going to start out with a couple of things that affect the world, and then I'm going to go into the U.S. chart. Planetary conjunctions affecting the world. Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. Last year it was about 2 degrees apart, and it was far more intense and had a greater negative effect. This year, Jupiter and Uranus are still in conjunction, but they're 21 degrees apart. That's a long way away. So what I'm about to read may have less of an effect, hopefully. Pardon me. There will be bloody rebellions, extreme tension, which may lead to war. This is for the world now, okay? Epidemics, agitation against religion and or spirituality. Jupiter equals religion, Uranus equals revolution and sudden change. Conspiracies to bring down religious teachers. Rapid expansion in technology, well, that's obvious, that's AI. Significant change or overthrow of the judicial system, which is hate speech bills, take away freedom of speech. So, well, they did that last year. There's still certain countries that are doing that and perpetrating that. Public institutions are benefited. New discoveries and inventions in science, but inflation will continue. Neptune-Saturn conjunction, 5 degrees apart. Well, 5 degrees apart is enough to have an effect. Saturn represents the working masses who sustain the economy of the country. Neptune represents socialism or communism, which generally refers to the people who live off the labor of others, including the ones who expect the government to pay for everything that they require. The free lunch crowd. Note, the previous Democratic government had been sending millions and millions of dollars to countries around the globe for years to sponsor an ultra-left-wing agenda, this is the Democrats, instead of looking after the needs of their own American people. That's the example. Definitely they did it. This conjunction of Saturn and Neptune can result in conflict since Saturn denotes control and restriction, while Neptune indicates inflation and profligate spending. Profligate means out of control. The Democrats have been up in arms since Trump's new government has put a stop to their egregious, wasteful spending. They really don't like that. They're attacking Tesla for some reason. With the planetary conjunction of Saturn and Neptune, the Democrats may take another crack at removing Trump from the equation, as they may have tried to do by legal, well, they did try to do with legal means in countless lawsuits and perhaps 2 assassination attempts prior to the election. This planetary combination could result in the death or overthrow of the current ruler. However, I don't think Trump's birth chart indicates such an event. We'll have to see. Since Saturn denotes restriction and Neptune may demand confinement, this combination may result in the erection of concentration camps or prisons, such as the existing one in Guantanamo, Cuba. This is where many of the illegal aliens who were invited into the U.S. by Joe Biden and awarded the right to vote for the Democrats, although having no legal status, are now being held. Since Saturn represents disease and Neptune confinement, it is possible a large number of people may be hospitalized due to disease or epidemics in this coming year. Specifically now, let us look at the lunar chart, the lunar yearly chart for the USA. The ruler or king of the year is the sun. Being that he rules the 6th house, there will likely be tension with the rulers of other countries. 6th house is foreign countries. The U.S. has 6 planets on the ascendant, which is the most important house, the rising sign. This also includes the lunation, which is the new moon, the exact conjunction of the sun and moon, which begins the Lunar New Year. This indicates many changes taking place in the nation, making it a beehive of activity. There are 6 planets located here on the ascendant. Yes, my friends, 6 planets in Pisces. And Saturn leaning in there, Saturn right on the cusp of Aquarius, which will be in Pisces a little later in the day, tomorrow. Amazing. So technically 7 planets. There's only, well, never mind about that, but there's only 9 in the Vedic, and then we're using the external, the outer planets as well. There are 6 planets located here, Sun and Moon, of course, Venus, Mercury, as well as Rahu and Neptune. This will cause a lot of discontent and unrest. The people's health may be adversely affected with the conjunction of Sun and Rahu, because Sun represents health, physical constitution, and the immune system, correct? Sun in the 1st house. conjunct the benefics of Venus and Mercury. Yes, Venus is exalted in this chart, and Mercury is debilitated, as weak as can be. Exalted means Venus has reached the pinnacle of its strength, but it's also traveling retrograde, backwards. Mercury is debilitated and traveling retrograde, both. Debilitated means it's at its weakest, Pisces. Many citizens will benefit from the new policies the government will initiate. New enterprises will achieve success and create benefit for the people. The president and those who voted for him will largely maintain good relations. In this highly polarized nation, the U.S., much of the judiciary will administer real justice, which was highly questionable under Joe Biden. Yeah, no kidding. On the other hand, Sun in the first house, conjunct the malefics Neptune and Rahu, means there will be tension between the president and the people who did everything in their power to make sure he didn't get elected president, including suing him. How many times? 4 different times. Moon in the first house, conjunct the benefics. Benefics means benevolent planets of Venus and Mercury. This means the public will benefit from this administration, especially women and children. Putting an end to sex change surgeries for young children would be a good example of that. Essential commodities businesses are likely to prosper, the things we absolutely need to live and to survive. Marriage and childbirth rates will likely rise. On the other hand, Moon in the first house, conjunct the malefics Neptune and Rahu, means there will be unrest and discontent among the people, most likely the alienated Democrats, and there are many, and there is so much upheaval and unrest and discontent going on already. Mercury in the first house in Pisces is debilitated and also traveling retrograde or in backward motion. What does it mean? This can mean communication among the people and the government will break down and become largely adversarial in nature, which has occurred in the U.S. for the past several years, in fact. Treaties and agreements with other nations will be problematic. There will be discontent, personal attacks, libel, and recrimination in the press. You already got it. It's already there. Venus in the first house in Pisces is exalted and also traveling retrograde or in backward motion. This can mean there is a happy, prosperous, and healthy attitude among the people or some of the people. This is highly advantageous to women and their pursuits. The government can enter into some favorable treaties with other nations. Just laws are enacted by the government for the benefit of the people. Various enterprises will meet with success. The general conditions of the country will improve. Neptune in the first house. This represents conspiracies, assassination attempts, increased crime, deceit, disorder, inflation, intrigues, socialism, subversive plots, and political propaganda. How do you like that list? Whatever improvements the government is trying to bring in will be subject to sabotage by the opposition, already happening. Crime and vice are on the increase, as are suicides. If Neptune has any real benefit here, it is with the increase of spirituality and higher consciousness among the people. Let us hope, let us pray for that. Rahu in the first house will act very much like Saturn, who's, as I said, leaning in and almost in the first house. Which, as I'm saying here, which is also on the cusp of the ascendant, as mentioned. Rahu represents the perpetuation of crime, including gang or mob violence. A disease epidemic could also take hold. It appears again. People and or the Democrats will continue to revolt against authority. Hey, you lost the election. Calm down. Wait 4 years, you got another shot. No, they're not doing that. The divorce rate will be high. The people may be affected by epidemics. It comes again. There will be various political plots against the president, as has been going on even before he was elected president. Violence is on the rise among the citizens. Many will emigrate to foreign lands. That's already happening. The country may get dragged into war, likely imposed on them by an enemy. The country will be on high alert regarding potential military conflicts. Some of the cabinet ministers may be asked to step down from their positions. Well, this is very interesting about the war, getting dragged into war. Trump seems to be very strongly allied with Zionist Jews, and that would be Netanyahu, and funding him and doing whatever he wants, or going along with whatever Netanyahu wants to do. Netanyahu is also on charge. He's up on charges of corruption. So as long as he keeps the war going, he's not going to have to go to court and face the charges, right? That's what you do. When you're in trouble and you don't know how to get out of it, you start a war. That's historically been the case. Mars in the 4th house may bring some challenges. The good news is that it is not afflicted or aspected by any other malevolent planet. That's the good news. But in the 4th house is not great. So the following predictions may only have a minor influence. Mars in the 4th house causes fires in public buildings, hotels, and educational institutions. It may also cause forest fires, volcanic interruptions, earthquakes, landslides, floods, and mining disasters. It may have an adverse effect on the agriculture industry and trade. This is for the U.S. It could possibly occur in other countries. It may also create unstable political conditions in the country, with political party fanatics inciting the people against the government through sedition and rebellion. I write here, I thought the U.S. was supposed to be a democratic country. Yeah. The Republicans clearly won a majority of the vote by the will of the people. As I said, you'll get your chance again, 4 years' time. Democrats. Although Mars in the 4th house is an indicator of war, it is unafflicted by another negative planet, so war is not a certainty in this case. Pluto in the 11th house, aspected by Mars. This is not good. It may bring deaths, murders, suicides, and other such calamities on a large scale among members of government. It can also result in members of Congress defecting to the opposite side. The opposition party will incite treason among the party members, who may become vindictive and even resort to revolution. Well, burning Teslas and firing bullets into a Tesla dealership and setting cars on fire with Molotov cocktails, that sounds like revolution. It may also foster a socialist ideology in the nation. There may also be scandals among government members from both parties relating to sexual intrigues, debauchery, criminal activities, violence, etc. Afflicted Pluto will not help in achieving the aims and goals of the government for the development of industry in the country. Saturn in the 12th house of the U.S. chart can bring about the possibility of danger or death to the president and or sabotage to the nation by subversive or hostile parties. This theme keeps repeating itself. The government will find it very challenging to pay down challenging to pay down the national debt. Yeah, well, 37 trillion. That's no easy task. The uncontrolled expenditure and waste of public money, which has been going on for many years and has been startlingly revealed since Trump took office, will likely continue for some time to come until all the guilty parties can be exposed and their hands removed from the cookie jar. Amen. It is worth pointing out that Saturn is at 29 degrees 58 minutes. A sign consists of 30 degrees, my friends. Saturn's at 29:58, right on the cusp, about to tip in. So he's right there on the cusp when the Vedic Lunar New Year begins. And then in the afternoon, once after the eclipse, or tomorrow afternoon, in other words, he will tip in to afternoon, I say, my time, but depends where you are in the world, right? Okay. So it is worth pointing out that Saturn is 2 minutes away from being on the ascendant in Pisces. With the other 6 planets previously mentioned, it therefore means that we technically have conjunctions of Saturn Rahu, Saturn Venus, Saturn Neptune, and Saturn Mercury, none of which are positive. Okay, so we're going to leave it there. Now, to conclude, why are these unwanted circumstances happening in our time? I'm going to quote my guru, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, who had tremendous foresight and was a very, very high, pure soul. And we love him. He's passed long ago. He says, due to a lack of spiritual practice and understanding, people are suffering. Under the false impression of being independent, they commit all kinds of acts which generate negative karmic reactions, my friends. Not understanding or not caring about the consequences, people foolishly think that they are free to do whatever they want. But when the accumulated volume of negative karmic actions becomes too great, we collectively suffer the consequences in the form of what? Earthquakes, epidemics, floods, storms, volcanoes, pestilence, and war. They are helpless to prevent them, and therefore they receive their punishment through the triumvirate of material life's miseries. What is the triumvirate of the threefold miseries? Number 1, adhyatmic miseries are caused by the body or the mind that you go through of your own accord. Number 2 are adibautic miseries caused by other beings, including people and animals. And number 3, adidaivic are miseries caused by nature, such as natural disasters. Our civilization is heading toward collapse. Why? Industrial animal slaughter, these are the causes. Abortion, the killing of babies, that is human beings in the womb. Amorality, morals are drifting down. Collapse of the traditional family unit. Establishment of gender dysphoria and confusion as a legitimate alternative lifestyle. This is a psychological imbalance, gender dysphoria. It's been on the books for years and years and years. It's not an alternative lifestyle because 3% of the people are afflicted by it. Sorry. Millions reject dharma, or the path of virtue, and pursue dhana, money, or kama, sense enjoyment, at any cost. And finally, corruption and personal gain to the detriment of the whole. According to universal time and its ages or seasons, we are currently in the winter of our discontent, known as Kali Yuga, the age of conflict, corruption, and hypocrisy. Got lots of that all around us. Everything is backwards and everything is upside down. Governments destroy freedoms. Lawyers destroy justice. Universities destroy knowledge. Doctors destroy health. Media destroys information. And religions destroy spirituality. I hope this has been of some value for you, my friends. I hope it has offered you some insight. I may do another one of these on behalf of Ireland and the UK. We'll see if I get around to it. Thank you for your kind attention, and I hope this has been of some value in your lives. May God bless you. May Krishna bless you. And I am happy to be of service because that's why I'm here. Thank you.